You're posting on social media nonstop. You're networking in every single Facebook group, and you're telling anybody who will listen that you're a virtual assistant. But somehow your bank account still has not gotten the memo, and you're wondering what you are doing wrong. What if I told you that it was one simple shift that is going to distinguish between you, a stressed out, burnt out virtual assistant, into a thriving, successful virtual assistant? If you're new here, my name is Paige. I am a virtual assistant and online business manager, and I've been working inside of my business full-time for the past 5 years. If you're jumping in here, I actually have a 6-part series over on my channel that actually walks you through learning what a virtual assistant is to getting your first client. I see this time and time again. When you start your virtual assistant business, it is so easy and tempting to want to market to absolutely everyone. And it makes sense. A numbers game. You throw it to as many people as possible, and somebody has to take the bait, right? But this approach is often the number one thing that is holding you back as a virtual assistant. When you try to be a virtual assistant for busy entrepreneurs, your days become chaotic. It is doable, but it's not sustainable. One day you could be designing social media content for a bakery, and the next you're trying to put together an entire program for a business coach. Of everything that makes it almost impossible to feel like an expert. This then leads to generic marketing. And when you're trying to appeal to everyone, you often post things that are like, feeling overwhelmed? Hire a virtual assistant. But the message isn't going to be specific enough to resonate with your ideal client in order for them to be like, I need that person, I'm going to hire them. Instead, they're going to see that and scroll on past. There is not a lot of people that specialize in specific tasks and clients, and there's not a lot of people out there who are professional in the way that they present themselves in the market. They just show up and say, I'm a virtual assistant, hire me. Because you don't have a specialty, your clients will often treat you as interchangeable. They might try to haggle your prices and not see the value in the packages that you're offering. This will then often leave you stuck in low-paying projects, as well as being paired with clients that aren't particularly ones we want to be with. This is a cycle that I see so many virtual assistants get trapped in because they're so eager to get that client. They're so eager to get as many clients as possible, but then often get stuck in the trap of doing absolutely everything for everyone and then leading to burnout and throwing their business in the garbage. That is not the goal here. The goal here is to create a sustainable business that we can take, years down the road. I've been in business for 5 years. There have people who have started and stopped their business while I've been working in my business because they just haven't been able to handle it. And that's not what I want to happen to you. I want you to leave the overwhelm at the door, because most likely we're trying to find an avenue to escape the overwhelm from the 9 to 5. And we don't want to put ourselves in another 9 to 5. Instead of becoming a virtual assistant for everyone, imagine being a virtual assistant exclusively for online creators, course creators, business coaches. This laser sharp focus changes everything. Your marketing then becomes incredibly specific and able to talk to those specific people's pain point. I want to make a point here too, because when I say specialized, I don't mean a specific type of service. You don't have to just do social media marketing. What I'm talking here is a specific kind of client. You can offer anything and everything to that specific person. That's often what I do. But what we need to do here is we need to name who our ideal client is, because once we understand who this person is, we're going to be able to cater our marketing to their emotions, to their feelings, and have them look at our content and be like, yes, this is exactly who I want to work with. This is exactly who I see working inside of my business. This is exactly who I see be the partner inside of my business. This could also be the type of service that you are offering as well. So for example, for myself, I'm an online business manager. I do a lot of team management, client support management, specific things that come to running a business. I don't have a specific type of client in a sense of business that I work for. I have people all across the board when it comes to their business. I have a financial literacy coach. I have a fertility coach. I have a dating coach. For me, my specialty is being an online business manager. My specialty is the service that I provide. And with that comes with specific feelings. For example, my ideal client is probably all over the place when it comes to the back end of their business. They started their business with good intentions. They started their business by themselves. Now they have a team of 9 people. All of their documentation is everywhere. Their Google Drive is a mess. They don't have a clear process in onboarding clients. That's where I come in and handle all of those services, set them all up. and make them feel like they are a business owner and not an employee inside of their business. The overarching goal here, though, is to understand the emotions of these people that we are trying to work with. This is also going to help on your day-to-day operations. It's going to make your workday more streamlined, since every client that you are working with is going to have similar challenges. Now, there might be separate things that you may need to learn about their business, but that's normal. With this, you develop systems, which then makes you incredibly efficient. With that efficiency, you would be able to get more done within the 25 to 30 hours than a generalist with 50 hours per week. This also allows you to charge premium prices for your services, build a wait list of dream clients, and genuinely feel fulfilled in your business because you are actually helping people you truly enjoy working with. So, what's the fundamental difference between a struggling virtual assistant to a thriving one? It's not going to be their skills, it's going to be their focus. And that is one thing we tend to lack nowadays, is being focused. Being a generalist is almost like being a small fish in a large sea. Choosing to become a specialist is like becoming a large fish in a very profitable pond. Specializing and defining who your ideal client avatar is going to be the secret to an enjoyable and profitable virtual assistant business. Now, an ideal client avatar, an ICA, is a detailed profile of your absolute perfect client. It's about getting so specific on who you want to help that your marketing then acts like a magnet for those kinds of people. When you market to everybody, your content, your emails, your LinkedIn posts often get ignored and get lost in the mess. I don't know if you've ever experienced it. If you're currently in your journey, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Instagram, and maybe you've networked with a few virtual assistants and you see their posts come up on your feed. Do you even read them? Probably not. When you market to one specific person, it makes it almost impossible for that right person to ignore. So creating an ICA helps you target clients that you actually want to work with, solving problems that you are going to be amazing at fixing, and is positioning you as an expert who is going to be able to charge for their expertise. This leads to better clients, more referrals, and a business that can actually last and is scalable. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually define who my ideal client avatar is? So we're going to break it up into a few simple steps. So first, we're going to look inward. What problems do you genuinely like to solve? And we're not going to list things off here like social media or email. Think about it from your client's perspective. So instead of I manage inboxes, you can reframe it as I give entrepreneurs 10 hours back per week by getting their inboxes under control. We're going to brainstorm the results of the specific pain points you take away. Maybe you love creating organized systems, or you get a thrill of seeing your clients' engagement on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn shoot up. We're going to start there. The next step is then we're going to take those passions and connect them with a specific group of people who desperately needs the services that you are going to provide, the outcomes that you can achieve. If you love bringing creative ideas to life, maybe your ideal client will be interior designers, interior decorators. Maybe you're passionate about wellness. That could be yoga instructors, that could be health coaches, or yoga studios themselves. Your goal here is to narrow it down from everyone to a few specific industries, people, services that you actually enjoy doing. Now, the final step here is to actually build out this client avatar. This is where you're going to make that person real. You're going to give them a name and demographic details. For example, your ideal client might be a 40-year-old life coach making over 6 figures. But don't stop there. You're going to get even more specific. What are their biggest goals? What are their biggest fears? Where does your ideal client hang out online? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? When you know these details, you know exactly what to say, where to say it, and how to say it. Your ideal client feels like you're reading their mind. When I was creating the concept for this YouTube channel, I literally had a small photo of myself on my computer because that was my ideal client avatar. I was speaking to who I was 5 years ago. I would have killed to have a YouTube channel like this back then, telling me exactly what I needed to do in order to kickstart my business. So that is who my ideal client is. Another thing that I've seen people do is actually going and getting a Barbie to put on your desk. So when you are doing your marketing, when you are creating packages and offers and looking at your services, you have this physical reminder of who it is that you're actually trying to talk to. It helps bring this person into reality, so it makes talking to them easier. Now we're going to actually test our ideas. So if you know me, I love market research. So we're going to talk to people in our target niche. This means going into Facebook groups. This could potentially mean actually networking with people. This is also where beta clients come in, where you can test a small specific project on these types of people that fit your ICA profile and get real actionable advice. Now, I know the fear that you might be experiencing because I can hear it through the screen. It's like, if I niche down too far, won't I be limiting my opportunities? This is probably the single biggest myth about specializing, because it's just plain wrong. And that's why I mentioned that specializing isn't necessarily just a specific person or niche in a sense of an industry, although it can be, but it could also be a specific type of service like myself. The main important piece here is that we're finding the emotions, we're finding the actual pain points that we're trying to solve. And believe it or not, once you find those, there are going to be so many people out there who are experiencing those feelings, who are actively looking for somebody to help take that off their plate, somebody to help release that. And the same thing applies to your overarching business, that when you specialize, you become the go-to fish in your pond. And again, this is what allows you to charge those higher rates. This is what allows you to bring in those high-paying clients, get better results for your clients, and at the same time you get to build a profitable, more sustainable business for yourself. At the end of the day, you do have a choice. You can keep going down the same path of being a generalist, or you can choose to be a specialist, focus all of your energy becoming that sought after expert, and building a business that brings you the financial freedom and genuine fulfillment. The road to becoming a six-figure virtual assistant isn't paved with more hustle, it's paved with laser focus. So you have the roadmap. We are one step closer to becoming that six-figure virtual assistant. If you enjoyed this video, I would ask you if you can leave it a like and turn on the notification bell for getting notified when my next video is up. Other than that, I will see you in the next one.